Welcome to the Give Grace, Give Space podcast, where we invite you to embrace your journey and rewrite your story. I am Lacey. And as you can see, we are down to one today. My co-host Mel is not here, so you just get moi. And I will not keep you long. So today I want to talk about being strategic versus being authentic. And when do you put them together? Which I feel like you can always put them together, okay? There's never a time that you can't put them together. But I just kind of want to give you this story that I recently went through. And I want to encourage my peeps out there. So during this phase of my life, I am really like getting into like what are my passions, what is my purpose, right? And I have been connecting with new people, and I was asked to like, hey, send me your resume and send me like what are your career goals? And I tell you, I kid you not, I was stunned. I freaked all the way out, y'all. I freaked out to the point of actually calling a friend. And I want to put a little plug there because old Lacey, I don't know. I don't think I would have called a friend to even say, I don't know. Like, I literally do not know what my career goals are. Now, this is the same person who had, I've recently had a resume rewrite, and I was told, like, you are so crystal clear on what your next move is. Like, it's amazing. But then when someone asked me, I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. And so, um, but yeah, I actually called a friend and I called for help. So those who know me know that Lacey doesn't really ask for help. Like, and I'm gonna stop referring to myself in third person. That's a mom thing that I do. And y'all are not my children. We are friends. Friends. I wonder if I can actually put that there. But I called for help and my friend was so instrumental in just talking me through to the point, and I did not tell her this. I got a little teary-eyed because I got to hear someone pour into me, and not that I don't get that often, but it was just during this time of need, and I expressed that I needed something. I had someone to pour into me. So, girl, you know who you are, and I want to say thank you. So, I took a couple of days to actually write this. Now, my resume is sewed up. All right, sewed up. Baby is beautiful, but what are your career goals? I was just like, oh Jesus, help me, Lord. I even, I think, talked to Mel about it for a second, and Mel is very supportive, and he's like, I mean, you know what your goals are. So I just decided to write, and I wrote. And I loved it. Like, I read it back to Mel, and then I got teary-eyed. Note, I wonder if my period is coming on because I'm getting teary-eyed in all these moments within a few days of each other. So, I don't know. Ovulation something. Um, but to that point, I decided to be completely authentically me. And I say a lot of the times, like, be your true self, be your authentic self, have some self awareness, right? And as I go along my journey, I realize there's some pockets of myself that I'm not really stepping into as authentically as I could. And it made me realize that this was one of them. Okay. And I say that, and I mean it from this perspective. We are now in a society, and for all my like LinkedIn peeps that's out there, people who, you go to the networking events or you're just out, like you're mingling and we network. And one of those things those questions that keep coming up, which by the way, I wish this question would go away. And I'm challenging myself not to ask people this question. What do you do? Because I feel like it really defines us. Like we've allowed that what do you do in your career to define you. And it shouldn't. There's so many facets of myself. There's so many facets of you. And the first thing that comes to mind, well, the first thing that came to mind when I realized that I needed to actually tell someone, a complete stranger, what my career goals were, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to be strategic about this? There it is. strategy. You gotta have a strategy. Look on, not even just LinkedIn, look on Instagram, right? Everybody's selling something. Everybody is like selling something based on, and here's a strategy. I can teach you this strategy, how to start your vending machine business, how to get into real estate, how to do this and X, Y, and Z. And there's a strategy behind it. And I'm not saying that these strategies don't work. What I'm saying is that when do we find ourselves kind of putting our strategy part to the side and not necessarily showing up from a strategic point of view and like allowing that to be our primary, but allowing that authentic you to be that primary. Um, so that's what I did. And well, let me say this, that's what I wanted to do. And it was difficult in the beginning because I just kind of sat on it and I was like, man, I don't know what to write. But as I started to write, I I loved what I wrote and how I wanted to tap into my passion and my more of my purpose, right? Um and just these different facets of myself and to bring all of that into play. Now, the person that I was sending this to, we did not, I'm sure, did not like probably major in the same things. I am an accountant and they are definitely more on the creative side. And even with my next thing that I'm trying to get into isn't necessarily in the creative side, if I have to speak from maybe a corporate America point of view. But here I am today, bringing you all of this creativity. And that is something to where it's digital, it's media, it's creative, but I'm not like, okay, well, I need to go in, be strategic, and drop in these keywords, the SEOs, the transferable skills. How can I align myself, my background to where I am today? No, I took this as a moment to stand firm and who God has called me to be and say, this is what I'm working on. This is where I have been. And even in that accounting world, here's what I've recognized. Moving forward, like the present, here's what I recognize and how they're starting to like, oh my gosh, they're the same thing. It's relationship, it's building and uplifting others. And not only have I done that in my corporate career, but I'm here doing it today. Like I'm on a platform. I started something with my husband and I absolutely love it. I will tell you, this is my biggest accomplishment from a career perspective yet. I am so proud of actually starting this. So I want to encourage someone to show up authentically and don't allow yourself to be drowned out because it is so easy to become overwhelmed and drowned by first off thinking, I have to be strategic about this. And Mel actually challenged me before like recording this. He was like, well, are you speaking from a place of privilege? And I thought that was such a good question because I do understand that everyone isn't able to do this. Like everyone isn't able to just be like, forget that strategy. I'm going to show up. Hey, bro, this me. You know, everybody's not able to do that at this point in their lives or at a certain point in their lives. But I feel very confident and have faith that I can show up authentically me. And I want to do that more often. Like when people ask me, what do you do? I don't want to say, well, I'm a degreed accountant. And then I kind of go into my spiel. Like, I want to show up as me and not necessarily defining me by my career. But hey, here's some of the things that I like. I like the rock climb. I've noticed that I am creative. Not that I'm becoming creative, but I am creative. And it's something that I've suppressed for so long. And now I'm literally living in it. I'm living in it to the point, and which is another one of my things y'all will probably see, but I tend to just take all it at the same time. I'm doing some CapCut, I'm doing some Canva, I'm doing a podcast, I'm editing, producing, like all of this type of stuff. But I love it. And it's from a creative space, which has nothing to do with what I went to school for. So don't allow yourself to be drowned out by the strategy and what society says that you have to do. Because you can meet some incredible people and get into some incredible spaces. And as I grow and as we grow, I want to introduce you guys to those spaces. Let's go together. Like, that's one of my things. I like to uplift and exhort other people, and I want you to win. If you winning, we all winning. So it was definitely an interesting experience, but I'm very proud. So I want you guys to think about that. I want my peeps to think about that. Like, next time you're trying to put strategy to something and you already know, like, you're battling strategy versus showing up authentically. I'm just going to push and nudge you to try showing up authentically. I mean, because at the end of the day, like, what's the worst that's going to happen? They don't like you. I mean, sis, bro, like, you just saved yourself, right? At the end of the day, it's like, oh, we're not really going to align on that. You save yourself possibly some headache. You will find your people. And I cannot stress that enough. Like, you will find your people. I have met some incredible people that, I didn't go to school with, I did not grow up with, and I just think they are so incredible, hearing their backgrounds and their stories and things and how encouraging, uplifting they are. Like, I see, like, oh, we vibe. Like, we really vibe. We're kind of on the same wavelength. And it had nothing to do with being strategic about it. It was literally just showing up as my authentic self most of the time at a baseball game for my son with a journal in the same clothes on that I had last weekend. So that's that. Told you I won't keep you long today. This was going to be a very short and sweet. And you guys let me know in the comments maybe some times that you have chosen being authentic over being strategic, right? Oh, and you know what? I do want to say another I guess point here was she also asked for my resume. So it's like, I'm gonna let my resume do its thing, right? I feel like the resume is the strategy. I want this piece to be me. And I want you to see me for where I am and who I am. And like, let's just connect, period. So, yes, y'all let me know what you think. Y'all stay up and glowing. And I'm out of here. Peace.